crypto bull market is in full swing, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about my strategy for the bull market, including how I plan to take advantage of it and how I plan to take profits. Welcome back to Dynamo DeFi. My name is Patrick. As a reminder, nothing in this video is financial advice, and you should still do your own research before making any decisions involving cryptocurrency. Now let's get into the video. Before we get into our strategy, first we need to talk a bit about where the market is today, as well as where we're actually sitting in the crypto market cycle. Bitcoin recently broke its all-time high from 2021. It crossed $70,000 for the first time ever, and then as of the time I'm recording this video, it's going through a modest retrace at the moment. That being said, there's a lot of reasons why I'm still super bullish mid and long term on Bitcoin. The halving is coming up in just about 1 month from today, and Bitcoin has never before broken its all-time high before the halving, but traditionally Bitcoin does extremely well after the halving, because the reason is at the halving, Bitcoin supply issuance gets cut in half. That's why it's called the halving, meaning that there's less sell pressure from miners receiving new Bitcoin and selling them off. Additionally, inflows to Bitcoin ETFs have still been strong. This chart from Hold 15 Capital shows some of the inflows here, and we can see that we're still having net 35 or 33,000 Bitcoin bought into ETFs every single week. And so now what you're going to have is every single week there's all that buy pressure on Bitcoin, and then you're also going to have less sell pressure after the halving, meaning that I think there's going to be a lot of catalysts for Bitcoin to continue to move upward. And so having said that, where exactly are we sitting in this current market cycle? This is a great chart of Wall Street cheat sheet psychology of a market cycle. And if you look here, then you have the periods of anger, depression when the market is in a bear, followed by disbelief on the first rally, followed by hope as that rally continues, followed by optimism, belief, thrill, euphoria, and then corresponding negative sentiments on the way down. And so the question is, if we think that we are in a true crypto bull market and we're going to have a period of euphoria, where exactly do we sit now? And before I give the answer, I'm going to show you another chart. This is from last year, so disregard this part that says we're here, because again, this is from 2023. But here is one that is a chart of Bitcoin price from the last cycle, broken down by time periods. You have accumulation, you have the early bull, you have the peak bull. That is when everybody's talking about crypto. You've got major brands getting into it. Everyone who got in early is receiving gains that they thought were impossible. People are screaming that it's going to keep going higher, but it ultimately peaks. You've got the decline, and oftentimes, at least in the case of 2022, there were a number of extremely negative events along the way, and then followed by another period of accumulation, and the cycle repeats. So where do we fit in these two cycles? Well, the first thing I'll say is we are definitely no longer in accumulation, right? We're not early to the cycle anymore. We're not in I don't even think we're in disbelief anymore, right? You know, we're at a point where Bitcoin has broken its all-time high. We're at a point where a lot of tokens have done 10x or even 20x from their low. And we're at a point where there's a lot of signs of new people entering the market. You have institutions getting into the market through ETFs, and you also have some signs that retail is entering the market. You have meme coins going crazy. Several new meme coins from this cycle have already gone to over $1 billion market cap, and then you have one that even went to $1 billion in its first day after launch. And so we're not in accumulation anymore. I would say we are probably in the latter part of early bull, moving into the start of peak bull as the halving happens, and if Bitcoin reclaims its old all-time high and is able to continue push onward as a lot of new people enter the market. And on the Wall Street cheat sheet, I would place this probably around belief. These are all just guidelines, right? It's not going to line up perfectly. And so given all that, what do you do? How do you have a plan for the bull market, and how do you take profits? First thing to establish is, what are you taking profits into? And there's really three things you can take profits into. First is blue chip cryptos. Second is stable coins. Third is fiat, or out of crypto entirely. So we'll talk about each of those one by one. starting with the last one, fiat or exiting crypto. That is, you've made enough money, you are taking your money out of crypto, you're going home, you're renovating your house, you are buying yourself something new, you're paying off your debt. Basically, you won, right? You cashed out. That's one option. You take your profit into those things. Second option is stablecoins. So stablecoins, those are cryptos that are at least nominally pegged to a dollar. USDT, for example, USDC is another one. Famously, UST from last cycle depegged. However, most evidence states that USDT and USDC are backed by real assets, and so those are more reliable. But that being said, stablecoins is a little more risky than exiting entirely, because things that are crypto specific still could happen, or you could be holding your stablecoins on an exchange that goes under. But that's one option, right? You exit to stablecoins. And I would say exiting to stablecoins is best as a mid-cycle strategy, right? For example, if you are taking profits but you are interested in re-entering on a major dip, then maybe you want to keep it in crypto, and so you keep it as stablecoins. But I know so many people that got completely burnt after winning last cycle because they took all their profits into UST. So for long term, I would be cautious of that. And then the third option is blue chip cryptos. And what exactly you qualify as a blue chip is somewhat subject to you, but this is basically the cryptos that you ultimately want to accumulate. And for a lot of people, that is just Bitcoin, right? They want to accumulate more Bitcoin. They might buy altcoins, but they're buying altcoins ultimately to get more Bitcoin. And if they're buying altcoins and ending up with less Bitcoin, then you would have been better off just sticking to Bitcoin entirely. For other people, that might include ETH, and other people it might include Solana, and then there might be even other people who include some other tokens that are in the top 10 or near the top 10 in that category. Personally, for me, blue chip means Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, maybe BNB. There's other tokens I like, right? I covered AVAX recently, but for me, that's what's a blue chip. And right now, I'm taking, within the cycle at least, I'm actually taking a lot of my profits into Sol, and then from there, I'm taking a lot of profits into Bitcoin, right? My thought is, I believe very strongly in the crypto market. That's why I'm building a business in it. That's why I've devoted myself full-time to working in the industry. And so I think that the market is going to grow. So I'm ultimately, for now, taking my profits into crypto, and I'm taking them into Sol and then into BTC. And so that's the first step, establishing what you're taking profits into. And that is super important, because if you don't know what you're taking profits into, you also don't even know if you're making any profits and if your trading strategy is working, or, for example, if you'd be better off just buying BTC, which is also fine, right? It's also fine to just passively DCA into Bitcoin. The second step is you need to figure out which category you're going to specialize in. Crypto market is enormous at this point, and it's way too big for any one person to keep track of. You have layer ones, you have exchange tokens, you have DeFi, you have meme coins, you have NFTs, you have governance tokens, layer twos, you have DePIN, decentralized physical infrastructure, you have gaming, and there's AI, there's so many of these, right? There's dozens and dozens of categories. And then you have all these different chains as well. So within DeFi, you've got Ethereum, Solana, Binance Smart Chain, Arbitrum, Bitcoin, Avalanche, so on and so forth. And it's impossible to be an expert at all of these. If you try to be an expert at all of them, then chances are you'll end up one step behind people who have chosen to be an expert on one thing. And the thing to keep in mind is there's always going to be tokens that are pumping. There's always going to be something that's the flavor of the day. But it only really takes a few successful wins to actually make incredible life-changing gains in a market as volatile as crypto. So the next thing you need to do is you need to figure out what you're going to specialize in. For example, I've chosen to specialize in DeFi, and specifically, I'm very focused on Solana DeFi. As people who watch this channel know, I'm also very interested in Cosmos DeFi, Avalanche DeFi to some extent, and then sometimes other chains DeFi as well. But really, my North Star is specializing in DeFi protocols. And the reason this is so powerful is that when you narrow your focus, you have the opportunity to actually become an expert on something and to find opportunities early. For example, I've been focusing on Solana DeFi mostly since last summer. And so I was very early on farming a lot of these airdrops now that you have tons of people talking about on Solana. Many of them I started farming all the way back again last summer, and so I've received several substantial airdrops, not to mention the fact that I've been liquid staking and accumulating SOL since it was less than $20. And so as far as what you yourself should focus on, well, a lot of it comes down to what interests you. And it comes down to what you think is going to do well, right? If it interests you, but it's not going to do well, then great. That is a good hobby for you to research, but that's not so much trading. If you think it's going to do well and it doesn't interest you, then you're probably going to have a tough time doing the research. Maybe you can dive into something that you just because you know it's going to make you money, but probably you're going to be more motivated if it's something you find interesting. So some categories that I think are interesting: DePIN, decentralized physical infrastructure networks. I think that's going to do really well. Gaming, not really my thing personally. However, a lot of YouTubers, a lot of influencers are really bullish on gaming. AI, I actually think that AI is poised to grow if crypto market keeps doing well, because $25 billion is a lot. That's the total market cap of AI tokens, but the total market cap of AI as an industry is in the trillions of dollars, and so it's actually relatively low when you think about it that way, right? I mean, come on, AI is roughly, it's only a little more market cap than Elon Musk inspired coins. Like, I actually think that AI is an interesting one. Maybe you want to focus on DeFi on one of these ecosystems, right? I mean, for example, there's a lot of chains right now that I think are poised to grow. Base, Sui, others. I think Base or Sui are two good options, and there's many other smaller ones as well that could also grow. And if you're an expert on the chain, you're going to catch all these opportunities early. And the next part of my plan for the bull market, now that I've established what my specialty is actually taking profits. And what that means is accumulating these tokens, NFTs in this category, farming airdrops in this category, because it's something that I've been able to identify since I specialized, and then taking profits from things that pay off successfully into the tokens that I'm taking profit to. And to me, again, that is SOL and that is Bitcoin. And there's a lot of different strategies for when to take profits. Some people like to sell half on 2x. Some people like to sell half on 3x. Some people like to have a certain target market cap that they're going for. Some people like to pair trade and sell when a token is a certain price relative to another token. And a lot of that is going to depend on the specific tokens. But the most important thing is to have a plan for each token when you're buying it, right? You have your profit targets, and then more importantly, you stick to those profit targets. And it's really tough. This is the mental game of trading. But once you have a profit target, you got to stick to it, because what happens is price goes up, suddenly the target changes, suddenly you want another 2x. And then that's how people end up retracing things all the way from the peak down to the bottom, because they move the goalpost, and then they psychologically don't want to sell once it's down, and then they just end up never selling at all. And so that's the plan for most of the bull market. I mean, there's going to be dips along the way, right? Look at the last bull market here, right? You had dips of 20%. You even had this dip in spring of 2021 of over 50%, which later recovered and hit a new all-time high. So those sorts of things are going to happen. But when am I actually going to cash out, right? Well, I'm going to always keep some Bitcoin, right? I'm always going to have some Bitcoin. But I am going to take profits out of crypto at some point. And I'm looking for a few things in particular. First, looking at this fear and greed index, we're already on extreme greed, but going to look for a point when I'm thinking about selling is going to be when it's way over here on the right. And then I'm also going to look for top signals. If the bull market continues, we'll hit a point where you've got a ton of new people rushing into crypto, and you start to see some familiar patterns that happened in previous cycles. For example, flexing on social media tends to be a top signal. People buying cars, buying watches, saying things that are completely outlandish, like $10 million isn't enough to retire. Here's an interesting tweet that was within the week of the peak in 2021, talking about buying a supercar. And by the way, buying a car at the peak is actually better than holding your Bitcoin all the way down, but it can still be a top signal when people are talking about that. Another top signal I'll be looking for is mainstream brands bandwagoning. For example, you had McDonald's, Pepsi, and Budweiser here using NFT lingo, talking about NFTs very close to the top in 2021. And so once that starts to happen, probably a sign that most of the fun is already over and it's time to start cashing out. And so when you start to see signals like these, I'm going to be cashing out, I'm going to be selling, and I'm going to be going back into stablecoins and even fiat. By the way, the framework for this video, including these specific top signal slides I'm showing you right now, come from a course that I helped to teach, that I designed the curriculum for, called Double Your DeFi. This is an intensive 5-week course basically designed to help you download information about crypto, everything from how to find new projects, how to research those projects yourself, tokenomics, different tokenomic models, how crypto narratives work, and how to take profits, all condensed into an intensive 5-week course. We've got live sessions almost every day of the week, office hours, over-the-shoulder research. Really, we designed this to just teach you everything you need to know about crypto and DeFi in 1 month. And so if you're interested in that, we're running the course in April. There's a limited number of slots, and this is the last time we're going to run the course. So be sure to sign up at go.wdefi.com, link in the description. And if you want to see more videos like this one, be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, this is Dynamo DeFi.